Hello guys, I will be reading this wonderful, wonderful book called Magyk. I will try to read it as best as possible without messing up. Sorry if I drive you crazy. I want to get straight into this because there's only so much time. Yeah, you saw the cover. Let me show you the map at least. Okay. Here's the map. You just pause it if you want to see that. Yeah. The forest. Well, it even does a whole little map of the castle and the river. The forest and the farm. There's so much land that I'm gonna have to find, aren't I? Anyway, something in the snow. Silas pulled his cloak tightly around him against the snow. It had been a long walk through the forest, and he was chilled to the bone. But in his pockets, he had the herbs that Gillen, the physic woman, had given him for his new baby boy Septimus, who had been born earlier that day. Silas drew closer to the castle, and he could see the lights flickering through the trees as candles were placed in the windows of tall, narrow houses clustered along the outside walls. I hate that. You flip the page and it's just like walls. Just one last word that they put there. It was the longest night of the year, and the candles would be kept burning until dawn to help keep the dark at bay. Silas always loved his walk to the castle. He had no fear of the forest by day and enjoyed the peaceful walk along the narrow track that threaded its way through the dense trees for mile after mile. He was near the edge of the forest now. The tall trees had begun to thin out, and as the track began to dip down to the valley floor, Silas could see the whole castle spread before him. The old walls hugged the wide, winding river and zigzagged around the huggedly clamps of houses. All the houses were painted bright colors, and those that faced west looked as if they were on fire as their windows caught the last of the winter sun rays. The castle had started life as a small village. Being so near to the forest, the villagers had to put up some tall stone walls for protection against the wolverines, witches, and warlocks, who thought nothing of stealing their sheep, chickens, and occasionally their children. As more houses were built, the walls were extended, and a deep moat was dug so that all could feel safe. Soon the castle was attracting skilled craftsmen from other villages. It grew and prospered, so much so that the inhabitants began to run out of space until some decided to build the Ramblings. The Ramblings, which where Silas, Sarah, and the boys lived, was a huge stone building that rose up along the riverside. It sprawled for 3 miles along the river and back again into the castle, and was a noisy, busy place filled with a warren of passages and rooms, with small factories, schools, and shops mixed in with family rooms, tiny roof gardens, and even a theater. There was not much space in the Ramblings, but people did not mind. There was always good company and someone for the children to play with. As the winter sun sank below the castle walls, Silas quickened his pace. He needed to get to the north gate before they locked it and pulled up the drawbridge at nightfall. It was then Silas sensed something nearby, something alive, but only just. He was aware of a small human heartbeat somewhere close to him. Silas stopped. As an ordinary wizard, he was able to sense things, but as he was not a particularly good ordinary wizard, he needed to concentrate hard. He stood still with the snow falling fast around him, already covering his footprints, and then he heard something, a snuffle, a whimper, a small breathe. He wasn't sure, but it was enough. Underneath a bush beside the path was a bundle. Silas picked up the bundle and to his amazement found himself gazing into the solemn eyes of a tiny baby. Silas cradled the baby in his arms and wondered how she had come to be lying in the snow on the coldest day of the year. Someone had wrapped her tightly in a bundle-woven blanket, but she was already very cold. Her lips were dustily blue, and the snow dusted her eyelashes. As the baby's dark, violent eyes gazed intently at him, Silas had the uncomfortable feeling that she had already seen things in her short life that no baby should see. Thinking of his Sarah at home, warm and safe with Septimus and the boys, Silas decided that they would just have to make room for one more little one. He carefully tucked the baby into his blue wizard cloak and held her close to him. As he ran towards the castle gate, he reached a drawbridge, just as Ginge, the gatekeeper, was about to go and yell for the bridge boy to start winding it up. "You're cutting it a bit fine." Oh, that sounded too country. "You're cutting it a bit fine," growled Ginge. "But you wizards are weird. What do y'all want to be out for a day like this? I don't know." Oh, Silas wanted to get past Ginger as soon as possible. First, he had to cross Ginger's palm with silver. Silas quickly found a silver penny in one of his pockets and handed it over. "Thank you, Ginge. Good night." Ginge looked at the penny as though it were rather nasty beetle. "Marcy Overstrand, she gave me an half-crown just now. But then she's got class. What with her being the extraordinary wizard now." "What?" Silas nearly choked. "Yeah, class, that's what she got." Jin stood back to let him pass, and Silas slipped by. As much as Silas wanted to find out why Marcy Overstrand was suddenly the extraordinary wizard. Extraordinary wizard, that's so stupid. He could feel the bundle beginning to stir in the warmth of his cloak, and something told him that it would be better off if Ginge did not know about the baby. As Silas disappeared into the shadows of the tunnel that led to the ramblings, a tall figure in purple stepped out and barred his way. "Marcy?" gasped Silas. "What on earth? Tell no one you found her. She was born under you, understand?" Shocked, Silas nodded before he had time to say anything. Marcy was gone in the shimmer of purple mist. Silas spent the rest of the long, winding journey through the ramblings with his mind in turmoil. Who was this baby? What did Marcy have to do with her? And why was Marcy the extraordinary wizard now? And as Silas neared the big red door that led to the Heaps family already crowded room, another more pressing question came to his mind. What was Sarah going to say to yet another baby to care for? Silas did not have long to think about the last question. As he reached for the door, it flew open, and a large red-faced woman wearing dark blue robes of a matron midwife ran out, almost knocking Silas over as she fled. She, too, was carrying a bundle, but the bundle was wrapped from head to toe in bandages, and she was carrying him under her arms as if it were parcel, and she was late for the post. "Dead!" cried the matron midwife. She pushed Silas aside with a powerful shove, and then ran down the corridor inside the room. Sarah Heap screamed. "Ah!" Silas went in with a heavy heart. He saw Sarah surrounded by 6 white faces, little boys, all too scared to cry. "She's taken him," said Sarah hopelessly. "Septimus is dead, and she's taken him away." At that moment, a warm wetness spread out from the bundle that Sarah had hidden under his cloak. Silas had no words for what he wanted to say, so he just took the bundle out from under his cloak and placed it in Sarah's arms. Sarah Heap burst into tears. The bundle settled down into the Heap household and was called Jenna after Silas's mother. The youngest of the boys, Nico, was only 2 when Jenna arrived, and he soon forgot about his brother Septimus. The older boys slowly forgot too, but they loved their little baby sister and brought home all kinds of treasures for her from their Magyk classes at school. Sarah and Silas, of course, could not forget Septimus. Silas blamed himself for leaving Sarah alone while he went out to fetch the baby's hers from the physic woman. Sarah just blamed herself for everything. Although she could hardly remember what had happened that terrible day, Sarah knew she had tried to breathe life back into the baby and had failed. And she remembered watching the matron midwife wrapping her little Septimus from head to toe in bandages and then running out the door shouting over her shoulder, "Dead!" Sarah remembered all right. I'll be ending this. I hope you liked it. Yeah.